Right, Bill, right. I did the work, you owe me 100. So you turn right around and say, well, you owe me 100, so let's call it quits and call it even.
That's exactly right. Let's call it even. I just gave you, if you give me a bill for $20, I'll give you a $20 bill. So the idea is that you're giving me a bill for 100. Well, I'm going to give you a $100 bill.
Well, it's a debt-bearing currency.
Yeah. So therefore, I haven't paid anything. I have neutralized the debt. This is why when you walk across a carpet, you build up the electricity in your body, and then you touch a piece of metal, and it discharges. And the electricity comes out of you and goes into the metal. So it's a discharge. You get a sticker shock.
And if you do that to somebody's ass in public, you get put in a jail cell because you've been charged with a crime.
That's right. You've been charged. And so
you sit in a cell.
Yeah, and so since your body is a biological battery, it's a biological electrical battery, and so they put you in a cell. And so the whole thing, it's all based on esoteric, occult use of words and terms and symbols that most people have never heard anything in the world about, know nothing about the way banks work. And my God, everybody's heard me say it 100 times, I'll say it again. You know, why do you have to do anything with a bank? You go to a bank because it has to do with a river bank. You know, why do you have a river bank? A river bank directs the flow of the currency because your money is called current. It's a currency. It's an ebb and flow of a current. The money comes in, the water, and the money goes out. It's like a current. This is why we say people like, you know, money goes through your hands like water. No, it's a current.
And we're in real danger on this show going from becoming assets to someone's liability, and we're likely to be liquidated one of these days, too.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I've said so many times, this is why you have freedom of speech in America. You have freedom of speech in America because the people who run this country know, the Americans don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They don't know from nothing about what's going on. They don't understand nothing. They don't care about nothing. They're not worthy of nothing. They don't know nothing, and they don't give a damn to know anything. So therefore, in America, you can have freedom of speech because nobody knows what they're talking about.
Babylon and on.
Yeah, that's right. Unless, of course, you happen by chance to know something of real importance. And if that's the case, then you have better watch your mouth in America because you can be whacked, you can be put into prison. And the reason why is I found this out from a federal attorney who works in federal court has explained to me that there's two ways of approaching the world. There's a private and a personal. So in the private world, you can say whatever you want to, but in the public world, you can't.
Yeah, you meant there's a private and there's a public.
Right, private and public. Therefore, if you are you're a Ku Klux Klan member, in your church or in your group, when you have your group of Ku Klux Klan meets or Black Revolutionary groups or whatever it is, you can say anything you want to the choir. You can say anything you want to the group in your church. Anything you want, that's private. The government has nothing to say about that. That's freedom of speech. But if you're going to go on the radio, if you're going to go out into the public and start talking, that's different because government is empowered to protect the population. They're empowered to protect the people. And so as long as you are talking privately with your group, your church or your group, the government doesn't care about that at all. I don't care if you got 1,000 people listening to you rant and raving about overthrowing the government or the race or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's private. Just keep it there. But if you go out into the public now you're going into the public sector. Now government can step in and do you in real quick because they are empowered to protect the people. So this is why you have to watch what you say on radio and television because you're in the public. Now, I had a very well-known in Los Angeles newsman on one of the major television channels in Los Angeles, nightly news anchor. He came to my company, and we were talking one day, and he said, Jordan, he says, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'll tell you something about news, the news on television that you may not know. He said, in order for me to be the news anchor at this major network news show. He said, in order for me to get the job, I had to sign a document, an affidavit or a document that I give up all of my rights to take this show. Therefore, if I say anything, the contract read, if I say anything on television during the news broadcast that is not on the teleprompter, I can be arrested because I've given up my right to my rights to take the job. So that this is why the newsmen on the television and radio news, they have to watch what they're saying and say only what's on that teleprompter, only what you're being told to say. Because if you start throwing in your own ideas and your own comments, you're going to jail. Because you signed an affidavit that says you are giving up your rights to the protections of freedom of speech. You don't have any here. We're paying you to do a job, and your job is to look nice, comb your hair, and look very presentable, and say what I tell you to say. And anytime you want to talk about things you want to talk about, you're going to jail. So it's like anything else. I mean, this is why the people of America have never been told anything, because they're not going to be told. The guys who really know are not about to tell you anything. This kind of knowledge we talk about here is a need-to-know basis, and the powers that be in this country figure you don't need to know. You're just going out and watch your silly-ass basketball games and your silly-ass ball games and your bouncing ball and your kick a ball and your soccer ball and your and the bowling ball and tennis ball and baseball and soccer ball and all the other silly-ass ball games. You just go out and drink your beer and watch your silly-ass ball games and keep your mouth shut because you don't know nothing, you don't understand nothing. When I was in the Painters Union many years ago, I was a young man. I joined the union, Painters Union, and there was a old man. We'd have our union meetings. All the guys would get up and say whatever they want to at the union meeting, and rant and rave. And I was sitting in the back, and there was a guy in a suit, looked just like mafia to me. Shirt, suit and tie, dark glasses, sitting quiet. And this old man in front of us got up and started ranting and raving about the government and the taxes or something, whatever it was, about the union. And this guy leaned over and tapped him on the shoulder while he was standing talking. He said, "Sit down and shut up." And the old man just sat down and shut up. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's the way this really works. If you're talking about something you're not supposed to, you need to sit down and shut up. Because if not, we're going to whack you. You're not going to see the sun come up tomorrow morning in this country. You don't badmouth anybody in this country. If you know something you're not supposed to know, you better keep your mouth shut. So this is why I've always been very hesitant to talk about things that I know in public. Because I've been there. I know what's going on. I know who these people are, and I know what they're doing. And unfortunately, there's so many people in America, they know, but they don't want to know. They're looking the other way purposely. So it's an extraordinary story of betrayal, how the powers that be and the world media, world news, BBC, NBC, CBS, all of these big organizations, they are paid money to say what they're told to say, not what the real news is. The very word news comes from the idea back in England, back in the old in Europe. Anything that happened in the north, east, west, or south, NEWS, was news. That's where we get the whole concept of news. Anything that happens in the north, east, west, or south, it's news, NEWS. So it's as I said, it's an extraordinary story of how the people of America and the rest of the world, for that fact, do not understand how anything works. This is why they have no power to do anything, because you don't know how it works. So people are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs, they're losing their freedoms, and now, of course, there's nothing left to lose. So now they're just losing their minds.